Hello, guys. I've got Bryan Flowers with me today, the toilet king of Pattaya. We'll tell you about that in a minute. How you all doing? We've got a few in already. It's very early for me, Bryan. I can't even have a beer at this time of day. I'm on drinking water. What do you drink? You don't drink, do you?
I've got a cup of tea here.
Have you? Lovely.
I'm trying to cook down the coffee.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to Capio, new member. Thanks for that, Capio. You got the green spanner as well. Franco's in the background moderating as well. We might need you guys this afternoon. I'm not going to do what I normally do at the beginning of a stream. I go through everybody's name, say hi and everything. I'm just going to get straight into it with Bryan. I think you all know Bryan. If you don't know Bryan, well, I'll let Bryan tell you about himself. But he's based in Pattaya. He runs the Nightwish group. And why don't you just tell us, Bryan, basically what you do?
So I started with Pattaya Addicts Forum. It's got 170,000 members. We've got other forums, but I won't go into that now. And then I started with bars. We've got 28 bars. And then we've got a law firm, which will open the second location soon. And then there's the Rage Fight Academy. And then there's the Rage Fight Equipment, which is a separate entity. And then we have a resort, which we're doing up at the moment. And then we've got TPN Media, which is Bangkok, Phuket, and Pattaya News as well. And then we have a few other advertising things that we do. So we've got quite a few things going on.
Okay. I'm just going to say, Day State there, he says echo. There's an echo. I don't know if that's from me or from you. How is it, guys? Can you live through it? Is it really bad, or can you live through it? Let us know, and we'll try and do something about it. Oh, we've got our first. We've got our first trolling already. Look, Vivo Extra says criminals. we haven't been 2 minutes, and we got our first troll. Look, there we go. Okay.
I think that's a friendly guy.
Oh, is it?
Probably.
No, because you've got a fan the same as I have who calls you. I'm now part of the crime family. Apparently, that's what he used to call you, and apparently I'm in there now as well.
Yeah, well, I just think that I'm more of an IT guy than a crime family.
Yeah,
I think
know.
That's the way I feel inside. it's
well,
crime family.
I know. I had to laugh when I seen that.
That's why I started YouTube, is because of all these guys, creating your narrative for you. So it's the best way of controlling your own narrative, having your own YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, Martin Ryder says there's no echo here, so we'll just go with it. By the way, guys, if you've got any questions for Bryan a little bit later on, I'm going to ask him some questions first. My stream, isn't it? So I'll ask him some questions first, and then, if you've got something serious you want to ask Bryan, not silly stuff. Don't ask him when, if he thinks the Thailand pass is going to come back, stuff like that, or what's the latest bar prices, just sensible questions, So yeah, you were telling us about the Nightwish group, and what's the situation with your bars now?
We've got 14 bars open at the moment, and we've got 14 closed. We're trying to open like 3 or 4 a month. The problem is managers. We can't get them because there's no tourists, and then trying to get the guilds as well. It's difficult. And the longer you close the business for, the longer it takes to reopen, because everyone literally moved on after 3 months. So we're almost having to restart our own business again.
Yeah. I suppose a lot of people. So just say quickly there. Somebody else. I'm just smiling because as you're talking, I'm reading some of the comments. There's some very clever stuff up there. I just want to put that one up there. I'm not. That's quite clever, isn't it? Can you see that, Bryan?
Yeah.
So anything goes. It's not a regular stream right now, guys. I'm back at 8 o'clock. I'm going to do my regular stream, but I've got Bryan here. We're just going to have a chat. You can say what you want, and no holds barred, as long as there's no swearing or anything like that, or anything that's going to get me banned from YouTube. Okay, so you're always looking for managers, aren't you? I was watching you stream the other day. You said you're looking for managers between 25 and 35.
Yeah, that's an old video. Sadly, I'm uploading old videos, but it's probably still true. We're constantly looking for managers because we're always looking at more bars, and we're always replacing. The ideal time for a manager is 2 or 3 years. Any more than that, they get jaded, and it's not good for your health. So generally 2 years, but most people don't last a week or 2.
Yeah, it's actually good. I remember when your channel got taken down, you actually said you weren't going to upload your old videos, but I'm glad you did, because I think it's helping your algorithm, because I've noticed when I just look on YouTube generally, a lot of your videos show up. So obviously you're uploading, I think you said 10 a day or something, didn't you?
I'll tell you what happened is I thought I'm not going to upload them, but lots of guys kept on saying they want to see the old videos, and I thought there's only one way to do it: get it all back up there. But actually, it's worked really well because I'm seeing new guys that have never met me before, and then old guys that have seen old videos, and it's good. And it's obviously telling YouTube that these videos are good. So even though it's not even monetized yet, it's pushing it out. So I think it's going to be even better than before.
And I will mention this several times throughout this stream. Your new YouTube channel, because somebody wrote a comment the other day and said Bryan's back, and I kind of said no, he's got a new channel. But the URL to get to your new channel is actually in the description of this stream. So I hope it helps you out. I hope you get a few new subscribers. I think most people in here know you. You seem to get this, we seem to all share the same sort of guys in these streams. They come into the streams, but if anybody doesn't know you, there is a link in the description. I'll mention that later, and hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. And again, guys, if you've got any questions for Bryan, any sensible questions, chuck them across, and we'll ask him. Okay, there's one. You can answer that one maybe, but just before Bryan answers it, I know he's my guest and I'm talking. I will shut up in a minute, but Bryan doesn't tend to go around the bars at night. He's more of a daytime person now. He doesn't like going out at night, but maybe you can answer that one, Bryan, as best as you can.
The guys that are saying that are talking about Soy Bacow before. If you go down Soy 6 at the moment, it's definitely the opposite to a sausage fest. But if you go down some of the expat bars, it is a sausage fest because it's full of guys the expats are everywhere at the moment, less tourists. But down Soy 6, I guarantee it's definitely not a sausage fest. That would mean there's lots of customers, and there isn't. But you can still have a good time.
People thought I was lying because I was there in the grim days of December when the bars were closing at 9 o'clock. And even then, I mean, there was still plenty of girls in the bars. They were just the kind of older ones, not too old, but you know what I mean. And so if it was like that back in December, I would imagine now it's a lot better.
Well, some people go out during the week and they say, oh, it's dead. But it could be the weather. It could be the day. Like Saturdays have been unusually quiet. And because most people are expat, it was Friday, Saturday. Whereas when the tourists are here, it's busy all week.
Yeah. Bryan says, is Bryan sitting in a photo booth? It does look a bit like that with the 3 curtains behind you. It's your new house, isn't it?
This is the new office, but I don't know what to do. I've got loads of, I've got a really nice view behind me, but you can't see it at night time.
Well, I seen it the other day. Yeah, I seen it the other day because you had all the curtains open. It was daytime. It looked really nice. You could see the coast, couldn't you? The sea.
Yeah, I can see the sea on that side, and behind me I can see mountains. It's brilliant.
Right. Do you know who this is? Barry the Bullshitter. Bryan question. Do you believe my stories?
That's referring to a YouTuber that pretends that he ran clubs and all these other things, but he only handed out flyers and then he got blacklisted for 5-10 years.
Was it this guy or somebody else?
No, he's taking the piss out of a guy that says he's the #1 Thailand live streamer, but he's banned from Thailand for 10 years. He used to hand out flyers on Walking Street.
Yeah, there we go. you got to laugh, haven't you? Got to laugh.
That looks like meth traveler.
This has got the makings of another Paranoid Pete video, hasn't it? Yeah. They say things come in threes. We've had 2. They make me laugh. Right. Let's have a look. What else? Let me ask you a few questions, Bryan. Okay, I've got a clipboard here. I'm old school. You had, I heard there was what happened to you got a friend who's Korean. You know, my wife's Korean, or soon to be ex-wife, but didn't he get arrested, your Korean friend? What was that all about?
Yeah, I don't know how much of a story to say, but basically this Korean guy, he doesn't speak English. He doesn't speak Thai. He doesn't know who to trust. I've been helping him, but he doesn't really believe what I say. And I said to him, like, basically he got a dodgy builder on board, and I told him this builder's no good, and he goes, no, but this builder's cheaper. I said, you'll be paying double of what the other builders charge you. So what he's doing is he's stood outside the bar 12 hours a day and he's watching these builders. And I went down there to see him the other day. I'm like, if you just paid the full amount, you won't be ripped off and you would have everything done. You wouldn't have to watch them all. They're drinking in there, which is illegal. They're sleeping in there. Building sites, you can't drink in there really because there's been too many stabbings. So they try and stop all that sort of stuff. Anyway, he was down there today. He phoned me and he said immigration have got him. And I'd already told him that when he opens a bar, we'll help him with the local authorities and we'll make sure that he doesn't get targeted. So he's messaging me saying, I thought you were looking after me. I said, mate, you've broken the law by watching these builders. I phoned our law firm and I phoned another lawyer, and they both said that if you're watching builders, then that's illegal. You're technically working, but that's in a business, probably not your house. So I found this very interesting because there was a lot of people on the fence about this one. I put it on my Facebook today. So I thought, how are you meant to check them after they worked, or you're not meant to look at the job at all? Are you meant to walk past when you're walking past the builders? I don't know.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. All right, I'll try and get a few questions in from viewers now. Jeff Fried Rice, he's a regular. He's a member. He says, what's the application process for a possible bar management opportunity just mentioned?
Just drinking a litre of vodka and see if you can still stand up. No, just come. I tell people not to contact me. I just say, please go in the bars, talk to the managers, ask what the job's about first, ask them the pros and cons, and if you'll be suitable. Most people don't care. They just apply anyway, even if they shouldn't be around alcohol or people or animals or children. They just apply anyway. And then ask if you can speak to VAG, and then speak to VAG directly.
Who makes your... Yeah, fair enough. Who makes your good managers? I mean, I know you said between 25 and 35, and I understand why. It's not an old man's game, I know for sure. But do you ever get guys who sort of do the talk and convince you, and you think this guy's going to be good? You hire him and he's just an absolute disaster. Have you had people like that before?
Yeah, every week.
Really?
Probably once or twice a week.
Do you want to give us an example, a nice story maybe?
I need to think about that one. I mean, okay, we had one the other day. This was absolutely crazy. The guy got completely drunk, and then he broke into 3 of our bars at 3 a.m. No one knows absolutely any idea why he did it. And then obviously the next day he was fired. He worked for us for about 3 days. Next minute, I've got people contacting me saying, this guy's robbed me. He works for you. You should deal with it. And then someone takes a screenshot of his Facebook with our logo on it, saying that this guy's a con man. I was just like, Jesus Christ, this guy. And anyway, he's in town, drugs, whatever. I don't know what he's doing, but that was probably one of the worst ways of getting fired. We've never had someone break into our own bars.
You know what? It must be alcohol. You know, he's had a lot to drink. He just probably thought it was a good idea at the time.
I say to people, if you're bad drunk, please don't work for us. You've got to you're going to see the best side of people. You're going to see the worst. You're going to have to deal with people. We're not looking for people that are perfect, but you've got to be agreeable, and you can't lose your rag at people. There's guys out there that just can't control that, and they need to stay away from alcohol, but they don't.
Have you ever had a manager kind of lose his temper and take a swipe at a customer?
We've had it a couple of times, but it's very, very rare. We tell guys to let security deal with it. I've even said to guys before, just go upstairs and let the women deal with it, because the guys aren't going to kick off with women. We've had our security take a few punches. We've had them give a few punches after they got punched, but we've never had any like serious incidents or kick-ins. When we first had one security, it was hard work. One guy got his hand slashed across here in the bar, and our security just took too long to get there, so we started getting more security.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, here's a question for you. This is from Javier. He's a regular in my streams. He says, please, Peter, can you ask Bryan about the future of Pattaya? You got your crystal ball there, Bryan? Let's say in 2 or 3 years, the city is going... you're only asking for an opinion, Javier. I was just joking. So in 2 or 3 years, is a lot to change right now. Yeah, so I think... What do you think, Bryan? Your opinion? How do you think it's going to go over the next 2 or 3 years? Will it ever go back to how it was pre-COVID, or will it be totally different? Or,
I mean, there's a saying that you build it and they'll come, and I believe in that on a bigger level. I don't believe on a smaller level, but I definitely believe it, because there's, I mean, if you're talking about English and other stuff, I'm not sure, but there's definitely lots of Asians coming in. There's definitely more people that are going to come. I think with how many YouTubers are these days, that makes a difference. Like a guy like you or me, we've probably brought thousands of people here, and then their friends have brought thousands. I've seen the same on the forums. We've got people watching the news more than ever, and they're far away, so they're showing more of an interest. Pattaya's getting bigger. I feel very strong about the future of Pattaya. I think it's going to be really good. and there's going to be a big wave of people coming in December, and I'm sure that will kind of snowball, I think.
Yeah. I was watching one of your streams the other day. Let me just, I think Capio was joking there. I would like to open a bar with large beers for 60 baht and free food and happy hour every day just to troll Bryan. There you go.
Oh, one more thing. We've got all these weed tourists coming too as well. So maybe that'll be a new wave of people, because people that smoke weed didn't want to come to Pattaya so much because it's illegal. So I reckon there's going to be a whole new bunch of people coming.
Yeah. There's, I mean, Khalsan Road, it's very popular down there, isn't it? I haven't been down there. I'm not into weed myself, but you know, if they're not breaking the law, fair enough. I was watching one of your streams, and you were talking about dangerous people in Pattaya who tried to have you arrested. I mean, is it really that serious? I mean, I know because of what you do, you've suffered from trolls. We all suffer from trolls, but you more than most probably. And you know, in Pattaya, I know there's all sorts of people there. I lived there for a time. But have you really come across sort of really dangerous people who have tried to have you arrested and things like that? Anything come to mind?
No, I mean, that's the funny thing is you know, people talk about motorbike groups and stuff, which I won't mention. And, you know, I see these people around, and then I see them getting arrested, and they're fine with me and fine everyone else. But what they're doing quietly, you don't really know.
Yeah.
There's been a few things happen recently, but that particular case I was talking about, that was a meth head, and he was associated with some really nasty people, and his mate had ripped off a friend of mine for 3 million baht, and this friend I treat like an uncle of mine, and I went to confront this guy about the 3 million baht, and then I ended up in all of these problems with his friend as well. He was threatening to shoot my children, said he wanted 300,000. He was sending Thai guys and stuff. I dealt with it very quickly, all in one day. Everything finished, and I haven't seen him again. But he extorts a lot of people around town. But I think he's either dead or gone now. But no, I think the town's very safe. I guess you've got different levels of people you hang around with. I don't hang around with people that take drugs. I stay away from all that. So I see a lot of entrepreneur type people, expats. Most of my friends are older than me. So yeah, you know, I'm sure if you hang around on Walking Street and places like that, you're going to see more trouble.
Yeah, you're right. And there's an old saying, you know, I mean, I've been all over Thailand, and I find Pattaya is great fun, but you have got to be careful down there because you can rub somebody up the wrong way. You don't know who they are. And generally the people who go around mouthing off saying they're connected to all these different people, they don't know anybody. It's the quiet ones you've got to watch out for. And I think if you don't ruffle anybody's feathers, it's perfectly safe. You know, if you just go in there on vacation, your visas are all good, and you just go in there to have a good time, it's fair enough. But it seems to be more the expats, you know, the people who live there who kind of rub each other up the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, my advice to people, if you're getting extorted or people are trying to threaten you, just call the police. These people won't fight with the police.
So how do they, I mean, how would they try and extort a normal sort of person? I can understand with yourself there. They think you're like, you know, you sleep on a mattress of 1,000 baht notes because of a Nightwish group, but just a normal guy to Pattaya, is there any chance he would get kind of extorted for any reason? And if so, what would happen?
There's different ways of extortion in Pattaya. One is people that are selling drugs, and then obviously anyone else that's done anything wrong. And then if you ever get a Bentley in Pattaya, you're gonna get a visit off a few people. I kind of we know people in this town. That's why I've got to use as a defence. I would never ever get a Bentley in this town for sure.
What, a Bentley?
In Bangkok. Yeah, Bentley's about 24 million baht. But if you get that sort of car in Pattaya, you're going to get extorted at some point. But it's very, very unusual. I think most of the extortion is from the media here. A lot of the media companies here, they make money from begging or from extorting people, but we do it the proper way by having Google adverts and just trying to find some money, and I use money from elsewhere to fund the news every month. So I'll give you an example. Some of the biggest news, they'll find a new building on Walking Street, and they'll approach that building and they'll just say, we know you haven't got full planning permission for this. We're going to put it all on the news. They'll go around finding people with no licenses, something that's wrong. Everyone in Thailand has something illegal somewhere. and then they'll threaten to show them up if they don't pay.
And these are legit.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
They are, but they're bad actors for these companies. But sometimes you don't know. Like there's one guy that goes up and down Soy 7 and Soy 8, and he was trying to extort Nick, in his bars, and he was just trying to like show off, and he was turning up with the police. He was coming up and down in his Mercedes, looking out. And then what we did is we got my wife to phone his boss, and it got finished quickly. But he was using the news to threaten Nick on Soy 7 by just trying to intimidate. And there's a guy with a newspaper that goes around saying, if you don't pay me monthly, I'm going to destroy your business in my newspaper.
I didn't realize all that goes on down there. You know, I mean, even when I lived there, I didn't see. I suppose if I'm not involved in the business, then you wouldn't see it.
I see.
Okay.
I see the bar business, and then you've got the news business. You've got the fight game. I'm seeing all of these different categories with problems. A friend of mine has 28 exchange booths in Pattaya, so I hear his issues as well. So it's a big place.
I watched your video the other day, your upload. I'm going to put this up by Brian Hoskins because you gave it. It's a genuine question. You gave an excellent description of the 4 levels of Monga in Thailand. Perhaps you'd like to share that with my viewers, because I thought that was very good.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said, but you've got bronze, like the new guy that just comes in, and he's just excited about things, and he has to get drunk to get laid, and he's like wearing a condom, washing himself before and after, and he's paranoid, and then he's taking antibiotics after, and then he's going to get HIV tests. That's like the bronze level. And then you've got the top level where guys are just barebacking everything and getting disgusted with girls that actually want to wear a condom, because not many do. And then they're doing like totally other weird things. They're starting on with the lady boys. Then they're looking for women with a missing limb. There's guys out there that just want something weird, like one eye, one ear, anything that's weird. And then there's at the top of level, you get the expats. They don't care what the girl looks like. It's all about how filthy she is. Tattoos, fat sticking out of her body. As long as if she's absolutely filthy, then that's the one they want. Yeah. So that was the bottom and top level. That was just thinking about it right now.
Yeah, and that's a typical Paul Hosking question. Right. Well, while we're on this subject, the stories I read out on my channel. People send me in stories. Some of them are disaster car crash stories. Some are very, very good. And I think you mentioned on your last upload about the one of the videos that's doing really well on my channel, the story about Lek the bar girl. I thought that was very, very good. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that, but a lot of the times people will come onto the comments and they say, "Oh, that guy was a simp." Now, I kind of think I know what that means, but what's your definition of a simp in Thailand?
My definition of a simp, I try not to insult customers, because we've all bought ladies' drinks and we've all paid the ladies for stuff. But these sort of guys, in my mind, are the ones that just keep throwing money at women, and then they expect the women to just like them back. But the more you throw at them, the less they'll respect you. And then they start letting the women get away with things. The women abuse them, and they send more money. And then, like the lady says, "Oh, I feel sick today," and the guy's bar finding them. But the worst one for me is sometimes we get angry emails off people saying that this girl hasn't been fairly paid, and I'm like, dude, stop listening to it. She just wants your money. Just pay her more. Like, some guys message me and they say, "I've met a girl and she really wants to work in a bar. She wants to have a cashier job." And I say, "No, she doesn't. She wants you to give her more money." I say, I've spoken to so many guys that push a girl onto us for work, and they don't want to work. They're just pretending they want a good job. So a lot of these guys just end up giving women loads of money. And then some of the worst guys will let the women just take the piss out of them, and they have no respect at all. But the biggest simping thing recently is OnlyFans, where guys are sending girls money constantly, and 99% of these girls have boyfriends. So they're literally sending money to a Farang that's living in Thailand, and he's sharing it with his missus. That could be the ultimate simp. If a guy knows, it's fair enough. But if you keep sending money to a lady that's got a boyfriend, then what's the point? It's just worship at that point.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you there. I just want to say thank you to Mortimer Duke for that super chat there. I'll pay the condoms for Pete's sake. Okay, so let's turn it on its head then, Bryan, because you know the same thing with the stories and stuff. Sometimes I'll try and give advice to newbies, and I'll say, look, guys, if you're looking for a real nice girlfriend, don't look for her in a go-go bar or a beer bar. And I get a lot of flack back messages, not so much on the comments, but guys will write to me and they'll say, no, you're wrong. You can meet a nice girl in a beer bar. I've got a mate who did it. He's married with 3 kids. And I know there's exceptions to the rule, but in your experience, you've been in Pattaya a long time. You're involved in the bars in a big way. I mean, what sort of percentage? Well, not a percentage because there's not that many of them, but have you seen many sort of success stories where guys have just come on holiday, they've gone in a beer bar, sat down, played Connect Four and Knock, and it's developed into, I know there's lots of guys who take them out for a week and go home, but I mean, it's actually developed into a girlfriend and it's gone further and it has actually worked out. Do you know many cases like that? I'd be interested to know.
I do, but only from the early days, because I spent a year working in the bars and I got close to guys and then I seen the relationships and then I kept in touch. But for the last like 5 or 9 years, all I hear is managers saying, this guy's bought this girl out, this guy's bought this girl out. And then most of the time you never see them again. Some girls might get divorced and then stay in the country and find someone else. But I think it's solid advice to try and look elsewhere for a girlfriend. But I think it's possible to find a girl in there. And I say this to people, I wouldn't go in a bar specifically looking for a girl, but you'll find one in there eventually because it's a mathematical game. You get close to enough people, you'll fall in love with one of them. But you're going to have maybe emotional baggage if she's worked for more than 3 to 6 months. Sometimes these girls will go with 10 people a day and then they start seeing doctors quite often. And that's when the girls will go to go-go's where they don't have to do it so much.
Definitely. Okay, just a quick serious question there from Andy Holmes for you, Bryan. Question for Bryan: do you think it's going to help with the new 40-day non-exempt visa coming up, or visa exempt rather coming up?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it would. I mean, yeah, it should, because that means that they don't need to extend.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, Bryan, is I don't think it will necessarily bring more people into the country, but what it will probably do is guys who go for a month, and the reason they, like me, for instance, guys who go for a month because they get 30 days will think, well, hang on, I can do 6 weeks now. So that's more appealing. You know, I'm coming out in October and I'm kind of wondering if I should come out for 2 months or 3 months. My buyers on my house fell through and, you know, I'm still trying to get new buyers, but it's good. It's only a promotion. It's only for 6 months. It's from the 1st of October till I think it's the 30th of March. So it's not like they're doing it just to try and bring people in for the high season, you know. Silence is golden.
Yeah, well, I don't have much to say about visas, but I mean, the guys with money won't care about that. They come anyway.
All right. Well, Bryan, this question on screen now from Kev. I don't think Bryan had really. He's not a doctor. I don't think he'd really know about that. I don't know if you wanted to answer that one, Bryan.
Well, this has been discussed quite a few times, but no one does any testing in Pattaya, so no one really knows. And a few people said that there's a bit of HIV around, but I think that if you go down the HIV centre in Rayon, which we've supported many times, they have very accurate information. And from the last time I spoke to them, I think they said HIV was getting, you know, less dangerous and passes less. It's harder to get. And I don't hear about any of it. There was one case like a month ago, and then there was one case I heard of like 5 years ago. However, Cows Thailand had 3 friends a long time ago that all had it. Just 3 of them, and there was 5 of them that went, and this was like in the 90s. So I'd met a couple of those guys, and they've got normal lives in that. But I haven't heard of anything recently.
I was just going to say, in the middle of the 90s, I remember in Thailand, a lot of the Thais who had it were in the temples, and some of them were quite busy. And like you see, it seems to have kind of dropped off now. I don't know if it's because people are protecting themselves more, or I don't know. I mean, there's no cure. They've got drugs that will keep you alive, but it's good news that it's not gaining momentum like it was in the 90s. There's a question there, question from MD there. He says, Bryan, what's your rough estimate of a bar manager pay? I'm interested and I don't drink. Where can I inquire? Not in Thailand now.
Well, for starters, we employ people that do drink. It's not like the West where not drinking is a good thing. I can't really say how much our highest manager earns because people won't believe me, and there'll be a lot of people talking about. But let's say, you're looking at maybe minimum of 60, and you could earn over 150. You just got to work hard. You're like a salesman and an entertainer, and you got to put up with a lot of crap, and you have to drink a lot. That's why I say 25 to 35-year-olds, because after the age of 40, I see people getting sick and cancer very quickly in Pattaya. I've seen quite a few 50-year-olds perish quickly after they land.
Yeah.
Just drinking every day. It's bad.
What would you say? What would you say if somebody wants to say somebody's financially able to go to Pattaya and they want to retire there? I mean, I know a lot of people do, but some people come and start. What would you say is the main thing that makes people? I'm just trying to word it properly. So they go there to live, to retire. They get their retirement visa. They're okay financially, but some of them come down. They don't make it. What would you say is the biggest reason for some people kind of failing at retiring successfully in Pattaya, if that makes sense?
Well, we had the currency changes, which a lot of people went home. If you go on the financial freedom like forums and stuff, everyone talks about making sure you've got way more than you need for just in case the currencies change. But I see a lot of people, drinking until all their money's gone. Some guys haven't factored in how many ladies they're going to have every day. And then there's other people out there that just get fed up with it. I see this with the Farang female school teachers that come here at my son's school. They come from England, and after 1 year or 2 years, they've just had enough. They just want to leave.
Yeah, it does. It can. When I lived in Pattaya, I got to the point where I got fed up of it. I don't know if you can remember all those years ago, Brian, when you first land in Pattaya, you get down there and you think, Jesus, I've died. I'm in heaven. All these bars, all these girls, and drinking every day. But it can wear thin after a while, can't it?
Yeah, it's like anything. If you spend all your day in bars, you'll get sick of it. I've got a few friends that will go with several women a day, and all they do every time I see them is moan to me. That girl today, she was late. That girl didn't do this. And I'm like, you should kind of slow down so you can appreciate it. I used to go out Fridays and Thursday night drinking, and I had an amazing night. And the same expats who were doing nothing but going out every night, they were just complaining the whole time. And I'm like, dudes, just work all week and go out 1 or twice a week and feel like you've earned it and you have the best night out ever. So I say to people, try and do some goals during the week and make sure you achieve enough goals and points and then have your night out, and it's amazing.
Through the meditation, they says, I met Brian and Phil from La Pub and they had great advice, get out of holiday mode. Well, I mean, the thing is, if you're retiring, you want to have a good time, don't you? So I think what he means by holiday mode is, girls every night and that, just drinking till you can't stand up.
Yeah, well, some guys that come here with a nest egg of money because they just retired, and then they don't come out of party mode, and then eventually the money's gone. I think you should have several trips under your belt before you do move here. So when you do get here, you won't spend all your money. I've got a friend at the moment, he wants to retire here. And I said to him, just pretend you're living here the next holiday. Come here for a month instead of 2 weeks and spending 10,000 a day. Every second day, stay for a month, get a condo, pretend you're living here. And then once you've got through that, you can safely bring your money without being stupid with it. And then you've got other guys as well who start smoking ice and meth, not knowing what it is. And then they get into trouble too.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so much advice out there now, especially with YouTube and Google, and everybody makes those. Everybody's got a YouTube channel who's based in Thailand. They do make those videos, 10 things to avoid, 10 tips to help you get on better. But people still, they get into drugs and they think they're going to get away with it. And have you ever come across guys who they'll take a bar girl and they'll say, no, she's different. And you try to convince them with experience. You say, look, you've been here a week. And you try to tell them what it's all about, but they won't have it. They'll just say, no, she doesn't want to be here. She's different. Do you meet a lot of those sort of guys?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot. Well, actually, because I'm not going out there, I'm not seeing it, but I see it in chats and people tell me about stuff like that. And one guy said to me, "My girl's different. She's got a penis," and I thought that's the most accurate one I've heard.
He said, "What did he say?"
My girl's different. She's got a penis, and I thought, yes, that's the best one ever.
Yeah,
but, guys think they're different, and when they're doing business, they're the number one with the number one ideas. Guys contact me 3 times a week. They want a DJ in Pattaya, and I say that people don't want DJs unless you're real special. And it's like, yeah, but I am. So they're all different too, and it's just the way we're wired. It ain't going to change. People believe in ladies, even though they're paying for their time, and I've seen this in bars quite a lot. Guys think that they can have threesomes with a lady, and that lady's going to tolerate it if they're married. She's paying to pretend to like you. She's pretending to have a good time. You don't know the truth, and you have to test that for a few months. My idea would be take a lady out, pretend you're broke, don't give her anything apart from food, and don't believe all of this, salary stuff, and then just see how long it takes. I had no money for a couple of years when I met my wife. She stayed with me, and we didn't have money quite often, and it was a great test. If I had to get a lady now, it'd be very difficult to test them.
Yeah, I had a friend years ago. I said the same to him. He said, "No, she's different." He found her in a bar, and he says, "No, she's different." I said, "She's not different." I said, "How much are you paying her?" And he was telling me, and I said, "Well, look, okay, she wants money for a family. Fair enough. If you were going to give her 5,000, 10,000, but he was giving her something ridiculous like 30, 40,000 baht." And he said, "Well, how can I test her?" He started to get round to my way of thinking. I said, "Just stop giving her any money. Just give her 5,000 baht for a family. That they can get by on that easily." And she ended up blocking him, so he had to go at me after that. Just say thank you to Day State Fox. Nice. Thanks for that super chat. Big up Thailand-Bound and my good mate Bryan. Okay, thanks. Because Bryan's on this stream, when I go to Pattaya in October, I'm sure I'll meet. I have met Bryan very, very briefly in Nick Dean's bar. Do you remember that, Bryan, when we bumped into each other?
Yes.
And that was.
It's very loud in bars, so I don't get to talk too much. I just wanted to say one thing to your last point. If a lady likes brands, she likes gambling, drugs, boozing a lot, or her family have issues, then you probably got the wrong one, because someone's going to have to pay for all that unless you can fix them. And I don't think you can fix people as much as I used to.
No, absolutely. And I'll just say quickly again, thank you to Barshink. He says, best area to rent a condo for retirement. Naklua, Darkside, or jumped in. I think it's a question. I'll answer it first, and Bryan can answer it. I had a condo in Naklua, and I found that very nice over there. And I've also had a condo in Jomtien. I wouldn't stay right in Pattaya, because then, you're asking for it. What do you think, Bryan?
I would say Cozy Beach is a nice place, and then the View Tale next to Central, where that guy jumped the other day. I think that's a great location because you've got Walking Street. It depends if you're making yourself efficient to go to bars or to the gym. Cozy Beach has a muscle factory. There's loads of places to walk. If you want an early death, then sleep near the bars. If you want a healthier life, come on this side of town and East Pattaya, where it's completely normal. My kids don't go across to that side of Pattaya unless it's a shopping mall. So my family stay on this side mostly.
Yeah. Thank you to the miserable expat. Today I'm the fake monger. I just want to tell you guys, I'm not calling Bryan the toilet king of Pattaya. That he's put that in himself. It's not me. So I've tried to match him with an equally humorous one. I've called myself a fake monger. But I did tell Bryan I did ask Bryan at the beginning. I said, why have you called yourself the toilet king of Pattaya? And he gave me a good explanation. So why don't you tell everybody why you call yourself the toilet king of Pattaya, Bryan?
Well, I see guys trying to show off who's the richest, who's got the most bars, and I'm a bit bored of those categories. I've already got to the top on the bar list, and I thought, you know what? I think I'm the toilet king of Pattaya. That's a new category, so I think it'll be a good challenge. And it worked out that we have 280 toilets, and I think that deserves a whole new race to the top. So I want to challenge who has more toilets than that. Maybe there's a few hotels out there, but I think that's some achievement.
Yeah, it is. That's a lot of toilets. How many of them have got toilet paper as opposed to a bum gun? You couldn't know that.
Probably half of those.
Okay. Right. Just messing about now. Let's have a look. We've got some more questions here. Daystate Fox, I have spent time with Bryan in Pattaya. I've spent time with Bryan in Pattaya and in London with Vinny, top man, so funny and so learn. Okay. Don't know if you remember Daystate Fox.
In London. I took my
okay.
kid there to meet him in London. We went round the Queen's Park.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Because you weren't a million miles away from me when you were here. Where is it? Were you in Coventry?
I was in Coventry and then Devon and then near Nottingham. But the problem is I had Vinny with me, and it's like trying to train a squirrel. You've got a 3-year-old, and there's no like, it's just mad. So I didn't see anyone. I wanted to see loads of people. Well, I've seen a few people, but not many.
Yeah, I know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? When people want to meet up.
That was a stupid passport renewal. That whole mess.
Yeah. Yeah. Kev12364. Is it more difficult now to get a retirement visa for Thailand? And would you recommend going direct to the immigration office or going to an agent? I'll answer that first and I'll let Bryan answer it because we've probably got different opinions. For me, it's an agent every time. It just takes the hassle out of it. I mean, people say to me, oh, I'd never use an agent. They're too expensive. But, when you've been through the immigration process for something like a retirement visa, I just think it's a no-brainer to use an agent. What about you, Bryan?
So I've always said, if you're married, your wife should do everything. Like my wife pays the bills. I got her driving straight away. She's on licenses. She's changed company names, and we've been through everything. And now we'll pay people to do company name changes. But what I did from the start is I said that, well, I had no money anyway, so she's always done the visa. And then some of my friends are going to use agents. I say, tell your missus to go down John TM and speak to the staff at the front and get the latest requirements. They'll give you a piece of paper and then get your wife to do it, and then she can do it forever. However, if you've got a bit of money and you don't mind and you're single, then just pay an agent. It depends on how much your time is worth. So that's my advice for people that are married, is get your wife to do all of that. And it works out much cheaper as well. I pay 1,900 baht a year for my visa.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely cheaper if you do it yourself. Like you say, if you've got a Thai wife who can do it for you, that's great. But I have got a wife, but unfortunately, by the time I get to Thailand, I won't have one, and she's not Thai either. So I'll probably have to pay out money to the immigration. Right, let's have a look. A question there from Andy Holmes. Bryan, I see your post on Facebook about immigration, that it's illegal to watch your... Well, we've already spoken about this at the beginning of the stream. Briefly, you're talking about the Korean guy, right? We've mentioned this already.
So I think Pattaya is, Bangkok is strict and Pattaya is stricter sometimes. But the problem is when people make reports, immigration won't do nothing at all ever unless someone makes a report or they give them a backhander. So basically what I'm saying is that someone reported him.
Yeah.
I just answer this. They leave a lot of people alone. It's people making reports that are a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I have a bit of a strange question, really, I suppose, but it's just out of my own personal interest. I've got my experiences, but have you ever seen somebody leave Pattaya because they were absolutely shitting themselves that something was going to happen to them?
Yeah, I've seen it in a few cases, and I've reassured people that there's no problem that's too big that can get fixed. You can always sort something out, but there's a lot of paranoia in Pattaya because people don't understand. They tell me, yeah, but my guy, he can do this. You can get people shot. It's not like that. It's a Buddhist country. If you really wanted to, ask a couple of close Thai friends if they can get someone slapped or punched or something like that, and they'll all say to you, no way, we're Buddhist, we're Buddhist. So all of these guys go around saying, yeah, you can get someone killed, you can get them some beaten up. Try ask a Buddhist to hit someone or kill someone. It's just it's the opposite to what people think. However, if you're pissing off criminals, you've done something really bad, or someone that's violent because you shagged his missus, then maybe that guy's a loose cannon. But I say to people, please use the police and please use the courts. Lots of guys say to me, there's no point going to court because there's no law here. Believe me, there is a law here, and it does often favour Farang, unlike what people say. If you bought a house for your wife, and then she tells you, right, that's mine, go away, even though it's not in your name, you can show that you've sent that money, you can get that house back, even if she sold it.
Yeah, there is law over there. People automatically think that nobody's going to take your side, but I do know from some friends things that have happened. There was a Danish guy as well, wasn't there, a couple of years ago, where his wife totally ripped him off, but he actually went through the legal process and he actually got it all back: his house, car, everything. Question for you. I'll just say there's a question there. I'll leave that up there, but I'll also
No,
just
I
say
haven't.
you haven't.
No, I want
No,
to
okay.
though.
Okay, well, that's finished that one very quickly. I just want to say, Broadcast Dave, thank you for that. Money for Benji's treat fund. Okay, that's the dog. Somebody put my old address up here earlier, so we have got some trolls in. And Ed Sweeney told me the other day somebody put my address up, but it's actually my old address. I don't know what they're doing, but he's gone now. That guy, he hasn't turned up yet. But like I said, that was the old one. Okay, let's. What else can we ask you? Let's have a look. Yeah, there is a work, because we were going to talk a little bit about trolls. There is a well-known troll who is absolutely despised in Pattaya by so many people. He's very, very active right now on a lot of channels, but he's actually gone quiet, very, very quiet at the moment. I think somebody was telling that something to do with you, Brian, or haven't you heard anything?
I wouldn't say he's well known. This person, if you ask anyone, nobody knows him apart from a couple of YouTubers and apart from like the real hardcore guys that are on the internet all day. But there's a few times where people say stuff about me, and yes, I ignore most of it. But sometimes someone really goes at you hard constantly, and that stuff echoes. I've had people saying, "Oh, English mafia on Soy 6, and they're selling drugs and laundering money." And that's why I started the YouTube channel, to show, hey, look at me. I'm not doing any of that. We're just working. We're working all day. We don't drink. We don't take drugs. It's just the manager's drinking. I'm an IT guy deep down. Yeah.
Well, I noticed the bigger you get on YouTube, the more sort of trolling you get. I mean, for a long, long time, I didn't have anything, because the style I'm very polite. I don't swear. I'm just reading out stories, and I do the odd live stream. But I've noticed this year in particular, my numbers have gone up, even though I'm not in Thailand. I'm quite happy how it's going, but my numbers have gone up, and I found it's kind of bringing more of them sort of people out of the woodwork. And I don't know why they attack me. I haven't done anything to them. It's just, you just have to deal with it, don't you?
The magic number seems to be 10,000 subs where it gets turned on. But the way these guys get views is by attacking you, and then people find the videos, or people send you links, and then now you're talking about, and then they come backwards and forwards. However, I decided I want to make an example of this person, because they've made several videos recently saying really bad stuff about me, and I haven't done anything at all. So I spoke to John, who's my partner in the law firm, and I said, right, let's go for it. If I have to fly to the other person's country, or they just have something waiting here for them so they can never come back again, then at least they might shut up, and they'll have to apologize at some point for me to take away the report. So I thought about doing this with a few YouTubers, but people always kind of like turn it around. Oh, Brian, you're a bully. This guy, he's just an alcoholic. He's on his own. But that's how they operate, is they attack people like us, and then they pretend to be a victim. Oh, that big bad bully, he's attacking me, when I haven't done nothing. If you see my life, it's just ridiculous. I've been on the computer as long as I've been streaming today. I've just been out there all day. So I don't have time for all of this trolling, but I do find it entertaining sometimes, because people, these sort of guys, they just say so many lies, and you can see through the lies, and most people watching it just realize they're a complete joke. So it's not actually insulting. If these guys compliment you, if they insult you, that's actually a compliment, because they're saying you're not on my level, you're definitely higher up, and they don't like you because you're higher up than them. And when I say higher up, I mean in manners and being classy, rather than being drunk and just attacking everyone all day.
Yeah. I just going to say thank you for Meth Traveller there, 195. That'll get me a few of the old beers later on for the later on stream. Thanks for that. But on that subject, I think I know the person you're talking about. He's actually done a couple of videos about me, and people have said to me, why don't you make some videos about him? There's a couple of things why I wouldn't do it. Firstly, I would be doing him a great favor, wouldn't I? Because I'd be sending traffic over to his over to his channel, and there's the only people I've seen on there, and most of the people I see are there are people I've blocked off my stream, or other people have blocked on their stream. And the last video he put up, there was one guy left 5 comments. I think there was 9 comments altogether, and 5 of the one for one guy, and they were all lies. But honestly speaking, the real reason, I think the guy's mentally unstable. You know, I really do. And I just think he's gone beyond the point of living in a real world realism. You know, I honestly think he is totally mental alcoholic. So I just don't think he's worth my time, Bryan. I'd just rather move on. Let him make 100 videos. It doesn't bother me. I'll just, you know, let him play his games. He's just like a pathetic loser, isn't he?
There was another guy that was attacking me for a long time, and I think I found a way of taking channels down. And I said to him, if you continue that way, then I'm going to do it, because there's a few. I'm online all the time in the past, not so much recently, and I've learned so much about trolling, how people troll because of the forums and because of everything else. I see every trick in the book, and you'd be surprised. Like, I did a video on it; it'll be going back up. But you've got different levels of trolling. You've got the fun guys, you've got guys that just want to have a laugh, and then you've got guys that just trying to annoy people, and then you've got the vindictive guys that just want to slag everyone off and bring them down. Well, I'm sure there's more levels than that.
Yeah. Just say thanks to Day State Fox. Having a bit of a joke now, but thanks for the super chat.
I'll tell you one clever form of trolling which you can't get banned for, and that's complimenting YouTubers constantly. Oh, your God, your video's the best ever. I can't wait to meet you. Like, just complimenting the hell out of them. And when people read that, they get really angry. Some people get really angry when they read that.
In the early days, it used to bother me because I'd never sort of been in the public realm, as it were, and I started a YouTube channel. And when I got a few thousand, maybe 2,000, 3,000, you get the odd comment from an armchair critic more than a troll, you know, who tell you how you should be doing things on your channel. And I used to spend a lot of time writing to them and explaining and trying to make them see my way. But you can never win, because they just, you know, they just come back with more crap, you know.
You know, I realise that, you know, I don't have to put up with people's comments. All of these guys think they're freedom fighters, and they think they're like saving the world, and they think they've got entitlement to leave comments. And recently, I just think, why do I have to put up with it? I don't. If it's just complete nonsense, then what's the point? And some people, the worst trolls, are the ones that can't even bother to research you, and they're putting stuff up there that's completely untrue. At least have their self-respect to research someone before you abuse them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, normally I don't give the time of day to this sort of subject, but I know you've dealt with them a lot in the past. I think because we're on together, it's a good opportunity to talk about it and you know, get it out there. But look, if you've just joined us, just under 400 in the stream now. If you've been living on the moon, you don't know who Bryan is. It's Bryan Flowers. He runs a Nightwish group. Bryan gives out a lot of useful information about doing business in Thailand, along with various other bits of advice. Very good channel. His last channel, unfortunately, got taken down for a mistake. It was a mistake. His new channel is starting to have legs already. So if you'd like to go along and have a look at Bryan's channel, there is a link in the description of this stream. So you only have to click it. You don't need to copy and paste it. It's easier, and that'll be there. So if you don't want to go off now, obviously you don't want to come out of the stream now, then after the stream you can maybe have a look at it. But Bryan gives out some good information. Right. Okay. I've heard you say, Bryan, you've got this. I don't even know what it is. A Thailand warrior. How you know when you're a Thailand warrior. What's a Thailand warrior?
I did a video on this the other day, and I got my notes here. There's, you know, you get different types of guys that come to Pattaya. You've got the sex addicts, and these guys have like a terrible life in the West. And I know quite a few personally, and the only place they can live is in Pattaya. So they're satisfied, but they're kind of like pissed off because they're like a slave to themselves. Often these guys aren't really Thailand warriors. They'll just go wherever they can get cheap sex. And then you've got the real Thailand warriors, like I consider myself one. I've watched all the Thai movies. I used to do the karaoke. I can read Thai. I can speak a fair bit. I understand a lot. I'll just read the list out quickly. You're planning to die here. You're thinking in Thai baht already. You're married to a Thai lady. There's some guys that come here and they get married to a Russian lady, in my mind, they're not like a true Thailand warrior, because why come all this way and then have the problems of having a foreigner, you know, with visas and everything else? Having a Thai person is so much easier when you're here. A Thailand warrior would live in Thailand regardless of how much money they're going to make. When I first came here, I thought I'm going to make 30,000 a month. That's enough to get by. I didn't care. I just fell in love with Thailand. Also, we stayed during the floods, the coups, the lockdowns, the currency exchanges, the other political stuff that's happened, and the royal family. We've stayed here through everything. And you're ready for the next phase of problems, and you're looking forward to it. You don't even consider returning home. People used to say to me, oh yeah, what would happen if you fail here and you return home? If I go home, I'm a qualified electrician, or I've got to start making websites again, or do sales, or use my business knowledge. All of my connections, my knowledge, and my everything is already in Thailand. I've grown roots here, so I feel like I'm a proper Thailand warrior. You can live like a Thai person if you need to. I remember making 100 baht last 2 days sometimes. I remember having no food for a few days, and I didn't have any medicine, and my face had a infection on there, and I was just so like upset because I didn't have enough money to like fix my face, and it was those sort of lessons that I had which made me try and work more. So you roll with the punches. You don't complain about Thai culture. You try and immerse yourself. There's a lot of foreigners out there. They'll eat English food, go to English pubs, hang around with English people. If you're a true Thailand warrior, you would have a mix. I'm not one of those guys that goes full mental and pretends to be a Thai person, but you should have a mix of everything. You get angry if there's no bum gun. You talk about Thailand constantly, anything Thailand related. When you see people in the dead in the road, you're not so surprised. You're not so surprised when you see like bad things happening and no one seems to care. That's my 15 points I put in a video. That video's not back up yet. It'll be last.
All right, I'll have to. I've missed that one, to be honest with you, Brian. I'll go off and try and find that one maybe tomorrow when I've finished all this.
Sensible.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. All right, great. Andy Holmes says, "Come on, Brian, please tell us a funny story, something that's happened in one of your bars." Anything
this is one of the questions I struggle at, because I'm always talking about business and other things. But I remember one day, it was like 3 a.m. Some guy came into the bar, and it was just a cashier there. And I wasn't there. I remember seeing the camera, and basically the guy came in and he didn't really talk. And then he pulled out his penis, and then he masturbated looking at the cleaner. And then he came all up the wall next to the till. And then he kind of like left. And then his missus came in, and they told her exactly what he did, and she was fuming with him. And then the next day, I think the guy came in and we showed him the video, and he just couldn't believe it. But there's been lots of incidents here. I remember one day, some guy, he was trying to get to the top floor, and I was drinking at the time. It was like 2 a.m. And I said, dude, the girl's gone to bed. That means she doesn't want you, because it's like 2 a.m. If she wanted you, she'd stay here. And he goes, I just want to speak to her one last time. And I said, if you go back up there, I'm going to pull you down those stairs. Anyway, I turned around, we were drinking. It was late at night. And I looked around and I couldn't find this guy. And I went to the top floor, and he's banging on the girl's door. This is like the third floor, and so he's 6. And I said to him, get down here now. I'll give you 10 seconds. And I'm counting to 10. He turns around and he tries to whack me with a bottle, and he hits my arm. And then I grabbed hold of him and I bend him over, and I'm punching him on the stairs. And then I pull him down the stairs. I didn't hit him hard. And then when we got to the bottom of the stairs, he goes, right, I'm Australian police. You're going to get arrested. Your bar's going to be closed down. You're in big trouble. And he was taking photos outside. And I said, dude, I punched you in the back twice. You're lucky you didn't get more, because you're upstairs trying to get in our girl's room, terrifying them. Anyway, the next day he came in the bar bent over, and he was like, I've come here for my back massage. And I thought, fair enough, I forgive you. Anyway, he was an Australian security guard. He admitted that he was lying. That wasn't really funny, but that was just like a weird moment.
What about this? Red Farang says, Brian, tell us a Skeeter story. What's that about?
I'll try to be careful what I say here. Skeeter was like one of our first managers, and he was here every day. He got a bit of money from a condo sale, and he was like shagging like 5 girls a day. All of his money gone. He went and got a bar, got investments, all the money gone. Got the next unit, got renovations. All of his partners were turning up out of nowhere, and then there was court cases going on. I borrowed some money to lend to him at the start when he was doing the build, and it took me a year to get the money back off him. I had heart failure at the time. I needed money. I was sending my dad down there to speak to him. I couldn't say anything because he made great food. If you make great food in Pattaya, you can do anything you want. For a quiet guy like me who didn't really know that many people, even though I had a few bars in the forum, there's no way a guy like me can go against a socialite like that everyone loves because he touches everyone and says how amazing they look. Anyway, in the end, it all just went completely tits up and he went missing. So nobody really knows where he's gone. Guys like that can't go missing when they've been around in Pattaya so long. Pattaya connects the whole world together. If you just disappear into like Philippines or Cambodia, you'll probably get seen because it's the same sort of guys. If he went back to his hometown in Boston, he'd be seen. So I have a theory that he died shortly after he ran away.
Yeah. So have any of your bars ever had many problems with, you know, like managers running off with the takings after the weekend or, you know, anything like
that? No, we had one of our staff steal 200,000 baht during COVID. What had happened is she's one of our like longest term staff, and she was the police told us we had to close again because of COVID. And when we closed, she panicked and she ran off with 200,000 baht. And, you know, I kind of thought that's wrong, but you've worked for us 10 years, just go. Anyway, my partner said, you know, we can't let her get away with it. So even though it looks bad with staff, like the way Thais work, if you send someone to jail for thieving, you're a bad man. But other Thais will look at us and say, well, how are you going to control your staff if you don't send people to jail? So sadly, we sent her to jail, which was a tough decision. My wife hated it, but everyone else was just like, it's got to be done. If you steal money at night time, that's very, very bad. If it's dark and you're stealing money, that's worse. If you get caught red-handed, it's even worse. And then if you get, if like marked notes, for example, it's just even worse if you get marked notes. And if you steal off your employer, it's even worse. So she had quite a few there.
Okay, so even I'm learning some stuff today. Interesting stuff.
Our managers don't touch the money. The cashiers touch the money, and then we have our own team of people that deal with all that.
So there's not too much pilfering goes on in the bars then?
No, I wouldn't say there is, because we've got too many levels of checks, and we've also got cameras there, and some of the managers are looking at the tills all day, updating, and you've got the bartender, and you've got the cleaner there, and you've got girls around. It's a very small space with up to 30, 40 people in there at any time.
Okay, so serious question there from Kev12364. It says, could you recommend an honest agent to get a visa in Pattaya? Or is that not something you want to put forward on a public stream?
I'll tell you what, I was involved with Flight Visa for a while. I mean, my wife can do these sort of things, and she knows an accountant that can do it. If someone wants to pay my wife, that's fine. However, I took over Flight Visa for about 6 months, but I've handed it back because of a few issues. But the staff there are completely fine. The main staff is a personal assistant of mine now, just online. But basically, I trust those guys because the staff still work for me. So that's Flight Visa, and it's at Fairtex. It's a little bit more money, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 more, but it's often better to pay money a little bit more and have someone decent. Because a lot of people out there cut corners, especially when you're dealing with work permits. They'll put one Thai person as in 4 places, and they'll pay tax and national insurance on one Thai person, and they'll bill you for the rest. I've seen that so many times.
Yeah, because you have to, if you have a work permit, you have to pay the income tax for four Thai workers. You're supposed to have four Thai workers on your books, aren't you?
Yeah, there was a guy doing it for us at one point because he convinced one of my managers that he does it properly. And then I found out one day that basically they were using one Thai person for all of them. And then instead of calling him a con man because he was a friend of mine, I took all my business away from him. And then someone told him that I was pissed off with him. And then he phoned me and I said, look, what you did was wrong. But he passed it on to two tomboys, which everyone else uses. And they were just doing it the cheaper way for him. But they were billing him the full way, or he was billing me the full way. And he wasn't being honest about them doing it the cheaper way. So if you're doing it cheaper ways, they cut corners like that. And as long as if they tell you they're cutting corners and there's a risk, then that's fine. My wife looks at some of these cheap companies and she's like, you know, this method's a bit risky. So you're better off just doing things properly if you don't want to have surprises later.
One of the things that people say to me, and I think it used to happen quite a bit in the past, but not so much now. And I'll tell you the advice I give people. But what people are mostly scared of is that they're actually not getting real visas. So in other words, they're paying an agent, they get their passport back with a stamp, and they're paranoid. A lot of people are paranoid that that's not really a visa from immigration. It's actually just a stamp that's been made up. And that has happened in the past. But what I tell people, you know, the boys in brown, you know, they're not, you know, when they get a bit between their mouth, you know, they go for it, and they have stopped most of that, I would imagine. And what I say to people, look, if it's an established premises with a name and you can ask people and that premises has been there for at least 5 years, they're not going to be a fake visa place. I mean, that's only my opinion, Brian. What do you think?
You know, people always recommend places in Pattaya. I always say, have you used it? Because most people recommend places that they've never used or their friends use, and that's how these problems occur. But this problem is an old problem, I think. I don't think this happens too much anymore. But if you're getting your visa off a guy called Dave you just met in the pub, then maybe you're going to get a circumstance like that. However, if you've got an established business which has reviews and a reputation, then you'll be fine. So my advice is just speak to people that you know here that have been successful and then use the same people as them. But there's so many people out there that can do retirement visas. You can get, you know, an accountant can do it for you. Lawyers can do it. You can go almost anywhere for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I feel it tends to be a lot easier to get things done like that in Pattaya rather than Bangkok, because there is just so many agencies, because there's a lot of foreigners. Well, there's a lot of foreigners everywhere in time, but especially in Pattaya there, I just think it's a lot easier to get things done down there.
Yeah, Patty's got a big reputation for getting things done very easily, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Mike says Key Visa Thailand was recommended to him. I mean, is there anybody that you know of? You probably don't want to say. But is there anybody that you would sort of warn us against and say? I suppose you can't really living in Pattaya. It'd be bad. It would be bad for you. I was going to ask you: is there anybody you'd say don't go near them? But I suppose that's a silly question, really, because living in Pattaya, you don't want to make yourself a target, do you? Really?
I would stay away from Soy 7. I think. I mean, you can go in somewhere like Le Pub and ask Phil. You know, there's so many people out there. I will be very, very careful of watching adverts on YouTubers, because a lot of these YouTubers, they don't check it. I'll be very careful of people interviewing and saying how amazing they are. I would always just find someone that you know and just check around and just use them. I don't think it's much of a problem. I think even the bad ones, 9 times out of 10, is fine. Just let them know you live here, and things will be a lot easier, because Pattaya is a very transient town. So the scammers tend to go after people that are just coming through for a few weeks. They're not after the people that know around, and so just make that clear to people.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you didn't know anybody in Pattaya, you know, when you get there, if you go in on a tourist visa, you can actually just go onto Google Maps and put, you know, visa agents, and they'll come up everywhere. And then you can pick a few out, and you can go off and do reviews on Google. You know, there's always reviews, and you can pop along to these places and just feel them out. You know, it's not that difficult now. There was somebody who I'm not going to name any names because that's not fair, but there was somebody who had a business idea in Thailand. And I tried to sort of talk him out of it. This was just 2 days ago. I phoned him up and he said, I won't tell you his idea in case he goes ahead and does it, but it was a business where you wouldn't really need to pay for that because it's all out there. It's all on the internet. It's all on YouTube. And I was like, why would anybody pay you for that information when they can find it for free? You know, so it's not like 25, 30 years ago where you had to buy the Lonely Planet and ask people and walk around all day. I mean, if you've got Google Maps or Google search, it's all there, isn't it? You know, you don't, it's the old days are gone, as it were.
If people are in doubt about visas, just go down to immigration and just use the visa guys there, because there's no way on earth they're going to be cheating people next to immigration.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are put off by going to immigration because it is just a pain, isn't it? I remember
the shops next to it. There's loads of visa there.
Oh, they're actually set up next to immigration, are they?
Yeah, they're privately owned, but there's no way they're going to be cheating people next to immigration. So, I mean, they can go there.
Yeah. I'll just let me just read that one out. Capio says things have changed a lot. JC Retired Cheap was one of the earliest channels, and he had a members club with info, but that's an old model now. And I know what he's talking about because before I had, have you heard of that channel, Bryan JC Retired Cheap?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he's been around for probably, I mean, when I used to watch him, he had 16-year-old videos on there, and I'm going back sort of 3-4 years. I rarely watch him nowadays, but Capio's right. In those days, you could pay to be a member on his YouTube channel, and he had some really, really good information in his members area. But nowadays, it's all out there, isn't it? You just got to do a search on Google and it's there. But JC's still about. He lives on a farm somewhere with a girl called Nat, funny enough. And I do sometimes come across his channels. Do you have any channels, Bryan, that you particularly like, that you watch often, or are you a bit like me because you do YouTube, you don't get the time to maybe watch some of the stuff you want to?
I'll tell you what, I change all the time. So when my channel got deleted, I haven't subscribed to any Thailand guys at the moment. So my strategy is to check like once a week or something. So what I've done now is I'm completely on Thai YouTubers completely. And I'm finding all of these little Thailand YouTubers because I'm trying to basically speak Thai and practice it more. But the English channel I've been watching this last week was Legal Eagle. He's an American lawyer, and he discusses all of these cases. I like watching court case stuff, and I like watching about the law because, I mean, we've got a law firm, so we're talking about the law quite often. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of people in Pattaya come to you for advice? Are you the kind of agony aunt of Pattaya these days, or?
I don't know. I've got a lot of advice about relationships and all sorts of things, and sometimes I'm joking, but quite often there's a lot of truth in it. People just, you get all those guys and they're pretending to be single in every single bar they go into, and they're making sure they meet ladies so they always look single. These are the guys asking for trouble, and I'm like. If you take 2 girls at once, you get safety in numbers. How can you fall in love if you have 2-3 girls at the same time? So even though that sounds a bit silly and impractical, it's actually true. But business advice, no. People always know better. What else is there? I can give advice about all sorts of stuff, especially pattaya, but I just feel like if people getting it for free all the time off me, they don't believe it. I would love to do it full time as a job. I love.
Maybe there's a business opportunity. Maybe there's a business opportunity there for you, Bryan. Set up your own office. Gold letters outside, Bryan's, whatever. But moving on, just before you answer, I'll ask you Shane's question. But before you get into this one, I just want to say there's well over 400 people in the stream now. So my guest today is Bryan. Bryan and I did a video, believe it or not, and it doesn't seem long ago, but it was actually 5 months ago. There's the thumbnail from. It was a video. It wasn't a live stream, but I can't believe it was actually 5 months ago. But if you don't know Bryan, he's got his own channel now. He's got another new channel. Gives out a lot of advice. I've put a link to Bryan's channel in the description of this stream. All you need to do is click it. Obviously, he's not there now because he's here. But he gives out a lot of good advice and well worth a visit. And I will check in with you tomorrow, Bryan. Brian, to see if you got a few new signups, as they say. Right. Okay. From Shane, how is Brian getting on with his Thai citizenship application? Because they only give about 100 of those out a year, don't they, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's ways of getting it, other ways. But basically, in December, I had everything put to them, and they said, right, you know, it's guaranteed, you're getting it, everything's good. And I almost said on YouTube, I've got it, but I said I've almost got it, even though I was told that I'm definitely going to get it. And then what happened is my work permit was on Foxy Bar for years, even though I don't work. I've been paying tax and national insurance for 5 or 6 years now, just for this citizenship. And then I changed the companies to the Pattaya News to make it look more clean. And they were like, well, you have to have 3 years in one company. So they said, now you've got another 8 months. So now the 8 months have just come up. So I need to send my application back now, and then I should get it quickly. But we've got quite a few things going on at the moment, so I might wait till December. So I should have it in December, hopefully. But in December, they're trying to get everything cleared out for the new year. So maybe late November.
Because I know my friend Simon in Bangkok, who you haven't met, but I think you'll meet him in October, Brian, because I shall be in Pattaya in October, and Simon, who I've talked about, will come down with me, so I'll introduce him. Hopefully, we can meet up. And
I'm in Bangkok on Wednesday.
You're there on a Wednesday, so maybe we can meet up. You go to because Simon's he's married to Thai woman. He's got children. He's got a work permit, obviously, and he's also he's got a mortgage and everything, and he's going through the process of doing all this, the normal way. And he's got his hopes up, because once you get the residence permit, it opens up so many doors, doesn't it? Like being able to buy land and property like a Thai person.
Yeah, well, I want to go for the full citizenship. You can step up.
Well, that's what he's doing,
Yeah, but some people get the permanent residency first and then the citizenship. I'm just going straight to the citizenship.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked a question. I meant to put it up earlier, but we've got so many comments coming in. I didn't manage it, but Capio's kind of addressed it. I'll ask you now, Brian. Somebody was saying what? Well, I mean, we know what the difference is, but the question was, what's the differences between Phuket and Pattaya? You can't. It's a difficult one to answer, isn't it? Because there's so many differences. Because you go down to Phuket quite often.
Pattaya is like a lot cheaper. I think the rents maybe double or triple in Patong. Everything's designed to just kind of like, I shouldn't say everything. I see a lot of bad things down there because people just assume that everyone's transient. It wouldn't be so transient if they didn't, keep doing silly things. Like there's a local person that gets money off all the taxi drivers, so their price is very high. That puts people off. I went in a pharmacy to get Miracid, which is normally 80 baht in Pattaya, and it was 300 baht. And I was like, this is just insane. Like, so they're not like looking to try and get people back. It's just like, let's rob as much as we can off these Russians. I'm not saying all places like that, but like there's shops around the Russian hotels that just try and gouge everyone. But when I started talking to business guys about the rent, I was like, no wonder everyone's gouging people. And then I thought, why is the rent so high? So I found out that the Muslims were pushed to the outside by the beaches because people didn't want that land. And then one Muslim sublets it to their brother, and then their brother sublets it to his son, and then his son sends it to an agent. So there's 4 layers with a lot of these properties, and that's why it's absolutely insane. So the business owners down there are actually just working for landlords and just hoping they can make some more money. So I think Pattaya, the rent is a lot cheaper. It's much better for people coming back continuously. All the hardcore Mongo guys that I know, they just love Pattaya more. Much more gills, much cheaper, and there's less knuckleheads in Pattaya, I think, because
knuckleheads. I haven't heard that for a while.
There's a lot of younger guys in Phuket, and there's a lot of fighters that come over. Most of those guys are right, but I've seen a lot more young Aussies guys coming over because it's cheaper. I think isn't it 6 hours or something, or I don't know. anyway, I think Pattaya is much better. And if you look on Google Trends, you can see the difference between people searching Pattaya and Bangkok and Phuket. And I think Pattaya wins.
People ask me about Phuket. They say, why do you never speak about Phuket? And of course, I've been there. I lived in Thailand. But the thing is, it's a logistics because it's such a long way. It's such a place to get to, isn't it? I mean, if you're in Bangkok, it's a 2-hour journey in a taxi or a bus down to Pattaya, Hua Hin, 2.5, 3 hours. But to get to Phuket, you know, you either fly down there or it's an 18-hour drive. How much? Because you went down there recently. I was going to ask you, Bryan, how much did you pay for the, I presume you flew down there. You didn't drive, did you? Or
if it was me personally, I would drive, but the person I went with doesn't have any time, so we have to fly in and fly out.
So yeah, so currently, what was the return ticket price from Bangkok to Phuket?
It was like 4,000 baht, but just ignore that because basically my mate didn't even know if he could fly there until like hours the night before, so we were paying the worst price. But I think you're looking about 2,000 or something like that. I prefer to drive.
Well, it used to be 2,020 years ago, so I mean, it's probably I don't know. It doesn't seem to have gone up very much. But when I live in Bangkok, when I go out there to live full time with my and I've got my YouTube channel, of course I will be spending much more time in places like Phuket. But have you been to Hua Hin, Bryan?
Yeah, so I'm doing business in Phuket already, and I was almost doing business in Hua Hin, and I was planning to do news down there too, but I've given up on Hua Hin for now. I'm going back to Phuket in 10 days because I'm part of a fight shop down there, and I've got some contacts, and we've also got the news down there, so we're trying to visit regularly. Hua Hin bores me a little bit. I went there a load of times, but I really need to revisit it at a different angle. I was going down Soi 80 when the small bars were. I'd probably be better off going down there with a different mindset.
I'll tell you what, Bryan, I got to stop the midway here. I've got to say a big thank you to Day State Fox. He's broken the record. I've never had a super chat that much. I'm actually quite shocked, actually. I mean, there's a lot of generous people come onto this stream and they'll leave $10, $20, something like that. But for somebody to come on here and leave £100, that's I haven't got the words to say thank you. But what I will tell you is when I go down to, and I'm not just saying this, when I go down to Pattaya in October, I'll meet up with Bryan and I'll take him for a nice meal, and I'll use this to buy myself and Bryan a nice meal. So thank you for that. It's well appreciated, and I'm shocked. I just hope it's not a chargeback later on when because I've had that happen before. I've had people send me £50, and then after the stream I've given them a big build up, and then they've took it back off PayPal. But I don't know if you know this, Bryan. I'm sure you know this, but a lot of people don't know this. When people send a super chat in, YouTube actually keep 30% of it. So for every £10 that somebody sends, we actually get £7 of it, and then I actually pay tax on it as well. So it's great getting it, but it's people think when they see these numbers coming in, you're actually creaming it in. You should be about ready to monetize your new channel, I would imagine, Bryan.
Yeah, I've already applied for it. I was just going to say, don't worry about Day State. He's a successful business guy. He loves sending the odd super chats. Yeah,
okay.
I clicked for monetization, but the problem is I had like 3 videos saying why my channel got brought down, and then after I clicked it, I realized that I should probably delete them. They might see them or they might not, but they look at your last video, the most viewed video, and then they look at the titles. So I'm hoping that I get past it and I don't get banned again.
No, I think, look, I'm not gonna go into why your channel got banned, but it was a genuine mistake. You explained it to me off camera. You've learned from that now. It wasn't something you did in purpose. It was something you didn't realize. And to be honest with you, I could have been caught out because I could have done the same as you. But you've learned your lesson now from that very harsh lesson, actually. But I don't think you're going to get caught out again. YouTube is strict, but they don't take your channel down for nothing. I mean, it's not like if you use the F word or you talk about SEX, whatever, they're not going to instantly take down your channel, because at the end of the day, they're making money off the backs of everybody who's on YouTube, aren't they? Right.
I had 0 strikes, 0 problems, and people are spreading rumors out there saying that they took my channel down or I'd been loads of. I never had any problems at all. I talked about 24 ways to wank like it was kind of a joke, and I talked about skills. It's completely fine. Don't worry.
I know, I'm joking. Yeah, Ed Sweeney's 20 stone wife is back in England. A sixth of the super chat is VAT. Yeah, okay, but it's all welcome. Mike, the Air Asia flights from, I can't pronounce the air. Somebody, Capio told me how to pronounce it. He broke it down. He'll do it again in a minute. I'll write it down. I think I've still got it from the other night there because I can't pronounce the bloody airport name. Here we are. I've still got it. Sawanapun. That was thank you to Capu. So the Air Asia flights from Sawanapun Airport to Phuket for 1,500 baht. There you go. Well, that's a very good price, 1,500 baht. Very good, actually. I will definitely be going down there. Right, Capiel, could you please ask Bryan Capiel 17 questions? He's asked it so many times. I feel like I'm watching Groundhog Day. Could you please ask Bryan Capiel 17 questions? What's 17? Do you get that, Bryan? I don't understand that.
Capo 17 questions. I don't know what he means.
I don't
maybe
either.
He says for.
All right, if we get it, we're good. I'm back on at 8. I've got to have some tea, some dinner, and go walk Benji and everything. So we'll stay for a few more minutes. But if you want to explain that a little bit more clearly, I will read it out if I get to it before the end. All right, I'll ask you another question, Bryan. What's your? I'll probably put you on the, catch you on the hot foot, as it were. But have you got any, apart from running your Night Wish group and everything else you're doing, because you're doing so much, have you got any kind of long-term plans, short-time plans that you're planning for the future, if that makes sense? Anything new on the horizon?
Yeah, well, we have this 36-bedroom resort. It's like 26 hertz. It's 2.5 rai. We already started doing Muay Thai events. We've done one full one ourselves and sponsored another one. So I'm going to make a stadium there. We're going to expand the gym. The only way to stay there is if you're training. I'm a bit short of money at the moment, so we're just fixing a couple of roofs. The swimming pool is fixed. And I've got a really, really good Muay Thai trainer coming in 11 days. And he's going to take over the business. And he's going to bring in a load of French fighters. We've got Thai fighters. We've got 2 Moroccan fighters. And we're going to be doing our own events. There's also a stadium that we're looking at between me and 4 other brands. The Pattaya Boxing Stadium. But I'm kind of thinking we won't take it on. I'd rather just have my own stadium and just do my own events. Because we've got this massive resort, we can shut it up. We've got a swimming pool, sauna. We can sell tickets. We can sell alcohol, and that means we'll be able to do our own events. It's very, very tough to break even or even make money with these events. As long as we can pay the fighters, we've got free advertising, so I'll be happy. We're expanding the law firm right now, and the fight gear is an issue because I don't have enough money. I need about 10, 20 million baht. To start the marketing, Stay, you drinking again?
I know. Is he going to take this back later? I was going to say, I've seen it and I thought he's had it. Is he going to take this back later? But if you don't, Day State, thank you. I mean, Bryan obviously knows you more than I do. Very generous tonight. Very, very generous. What can I say? I mean, thank you, really. Do you know the Day State Fox, Bryan?
Yeah, I know him very well. I met him in London and I met him in Pattaya, but we talk every day in a couple of chats. He's actually a moderator on Nick's channel, NDTVI Thailand, and I met him more through Nick, but he was a good friend of Kevin Thailand before, and he's a very successful business guy, so we talk a little bit about stuff like that. But me, Day State, and Capio are good friends because we have, I don't know, we just like to talk, so...
Okay. Hopefully I'll see him on my channel a bit more, not for the super chats, just to have another viewer in there. It'd be great. And also thank you to Shooting from the Sky there. Hi. Before I read Shooting from the Sky's question, we got to the bottom of that other one. Capio explained it. I will come back to this one afterwards, but the question that we didn't understand was, he keeps asking the question, hi, Bryan, due to the lack of bar girls, would Thais work with European girls in the same bar? I think it's a work permit thing, isn't it, Bryan? Would be a problem?
Yeah, I mean, there's a Russian club here, and we had a Farang lady, an English girl, working in my friend's bar, like, sometimes. But if you're going to have, like, foreigners in your bar, you've got to grease the right palms, and they can't be seen to be going with people so much. whereas the Thais, they'll turn a blind eye to it. One of the biggest pimps in North Korea said to me, South Korea, sorry, he wanted to bring Korean ladies over, and then he wanted me to help him take Thai ladies over there, which is technically human trafficking, even if they're going willingly. So I wouldn't get involved in anything like that. But yeah, I mean, you could have Farang women working in your bars here.
Okay.
We had an English girl who was doing it. She was doing short times for 2,000 baht.
An English girl. Did she get caught, or was she nice looking?
No, she was on holiday, and monkey see, monkey do. She was in my friend's bar every day, and she was all right. I mean, I would say like 6 out of 10. And
did she get any customers?
Yeah, she was just like people. The thing is, when you get a really hot new girl or a dwarf or anything weird or like a Farang lady, people are messaging each other like, "Do you want this lady?" And managers kind of trade it. Like there was a new guild at Toy Box yesterday, and someone, the manager sent me photos, and I sent that to about 10 people. So literally, they're all going down there quickly to see this new lady at Toy Box. Sometimes people are asking if there's any weird things like dwarfs, but some girls will say, "I've got a Russian friend. Do you want her to bring along?" So there's a lot of people promoting each other. Some guys will say, "Hey, I've got a squirter over here," and yeah, there's all sorts of weird stuff going on.
All right, I'm just going to try and get. We've been going for an hour and a half now. I'm aware it's getting late in. It's about coming on up to just gone 11:30 in Pattaya. I've got 2 hours to the next regular stream. Shooting from the Sky just asked, "Hi Brian, any cases of lady boys with monkeypox these days? Are their noses falling off?" I don't know if that's kind of a joke or a serious question.
I put on my Facebook a couple of days ago, we had people come into one of our bars to check for monkeypox. They didn't find any, so they are going to bars checking people.
Yeah, good. All right. Black Bolt says, Brian, do you think live streaming is here to stay, or is it a flash in the pan, or do you think it's here to stay?
Yes, it's here to stay.
Well, I'll tell you something interesting. When I went to Thailand in December, I was in a hotel room and the connection was terrible. And the most I've ever had in a live stream was about, say, 550 people. Normally I'll get anywhere between 400 and 500, but I have had 550. But when I went in December, I had the worst picture, sound, it was terrible. But I had nearly 1,000 people in that stream. And it was because I'd gone there in the dark days in December when it was at its worst. And yes, I caught COVID, and I won't go through the whole story again. We all know what happened. But I was speaking to somebody who's a bit more clever than me. And I said, I don't understand it. I've got nearly 1,000 people in the stream and they could hardly see me. The picture was bad. The sound was bad. And the guy said, well, that's what people want. They don't want broadcast. They're not interested so much in broadcast TV quality. What they want is realism. And you went there in December when it was really bad. And although the picture was bad, people wanted to watch it. So I think it is here for a while, Brian, myself. I think people like to get involved rather than just sit and watch something on TV. I think, I like to get involved in live streams. There's nothing like a good live stream to get involved in.
He's talking about the lady ones. Like we've got one, for example.
Okay. After all that.
And there's 3 to 6 ladies in our villa. It's actually not far from my house, and we stream 11 till 7 a.m. every day. And
right, okay, so I got it now, because I thought he meant live streaming on YouTube. Will it be a long-term thing or flash in the pan? But what he's obviously talking about is when the Rona, as you call it, was on, all the girls streaming from the bar. So I get it now. Yeah, it's 2 different subjects, isn't it? Right, okay. Right, let's do a couple more, then I'm going to have to call it a day or a night, whatever. Be great having you on here, Brian. It's, hopefully you'll get a few people over to your channel. We like to help each other out. Right, Capil says, think there'll be an angry live stream tonight. I think I know. Yeah, and I think I know he'll be the center of attention on there. Never mind. We'll live. Okay, let's sort of. I got to laugh. I'll just put that. I shouldn't, but I can't help it. I know Capil says don't promote him, but it's funny. Right, Brian, I think we're there, mate. Look, once again, guys, just to end up with Brian's channel, there's a link in the description. I'm going to end up now. I'm going to thank Brian for coming on tonight. The Toilet King of Pattaya, great name. We now know why. And Brian, what can I say? It's been a blast.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and it's much better than I expected it would be. I mean, I just thought I wouldn't be able to think of things, but it went very smoothly.
When you got a lot of people in a stream who are talking, I mean, okay, a lot of people have been joking about one person in particular who I think I've jumped on the bandwagon and I'll pay for it later. I know, but hey ho. You know, when you got a lot of people in the stream, we're all on the same kind of wavelength. It does go very, very quickly. We've been going for an hour 35 minutes. I could go for another hour 35 minutes. And I think if I wasn't coming back on at 8, I would have to. I would say let's do another hour, but unfortunately I can't. So. Thank you guys, everybody who contributed. Day State, you're a legend, mate. Honestly, I can't. My eyes will be going tomorrow. I'll wake up and think, oh, it was just a dream. But thank you, and I will buy Brian a nice dinner, noodle stand at the end of Walking Street. And yeah, guys, thank you very much. Now, I hope you'll come back in at 8 o'clock. It's the Saint Etienne beer time. You know, 8 o'clock and a bit of whiskey. I've got the whiskey lined up, ready for tonight. You know, I'll do a couple of hours. So, guys. I'm back. I'm going to take a break now. I'll be back on 8 p.m. UK time to do the regular Sunday night stream. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for all the comments. Brian, thank you for coming on my stream today. I really do appreciate it. And I'll be watching your channel very closely, and hopefully it will, you know, grow like your last one did. Thanks, Brian.
1,316 subs. So
you're doing well.
You're doing well. 9,500 before.
Brilliant. Okay, guys, thanks. And hopefully I'll see you all at 8 o'clock.